Hello, Brian with Steamburger Studios. Here's just a happy little devlog for my 2023 epic MegaJam game, Antiquated Future Upgrade. The Epic MegaJam is an annual contest put on by Epic Games, the creators of Unreal Engine and Fortnite. The contest rules provide you with 7 days to create and submit an entire playable video game using their tools. You can make anything you want, so long as it fits within the contest theme, which is only provided when the contest formally kicks off on the first day. This year's theme was Antiquated Future. When this was announced, my mind immediately opened up to a flood of high-level concepts. The phrase antiquated made me think of the recent trend of found VHS videos with the creepy liminal spaces like backrooms. The word future had me envisioning flying cars and neon lights. You combine those together, and it immediately made me think of the classic sci-fi movie, Blade Runner. In the movie Blade Runner, Harrison Ford plays a detective tasked with investigating AI robots that are so advanced that they pass as human. The world around him is futuristic, but littered with old junk and antiquated technology. I knew right away from my game that I wanted to pay homage to this as a core concept, but I also wanted my own twist with a nod to something contemporary. This past year has been dominated with the unease around artificial intelligence like ChatGPT, the photo and video and human voice replication that's so advanced already, it passes as real. There was a recent NPR Planet Money podcast which used AI to both write and voice a full segment, and it used that replicated voice AI to mimic a long-retired host of theirs. While there were some obvious tells, the result was both phenomenal and spooky.
Exactly. And I think that applies to podcasting too. Sure, we have all these tools and technologies that make our lives easier and our podcast better. But we still need to be creative, curious, and critical thinkers who can tell stories that matter.
Well said, Robert. Well said. Because while machines can do many things better than humans, they can't do everything.
Thursday night, day 1. I set my brain to work on a story concept in the background, while I set to work with my USB piano in FL Studio to jam out some music. I find that music drives my imagination more than pen and paper, and armed with some classic 80s synth sounds, I quickly came up with an idea for the end of the game. A sunrise shining light on the player after a long time spent indoors with artificial light inside of liminal spaces. My current big project is an open-world FPS, and I've been needing to learn and practice more with those elements, so I decided this game should be an FPS as well. Anything I learn along the way can only help. I wrote out the high-level concept as an elevator pitch. Friday, day 2. In anticipation of the contest, I actually took Friday and Monday off from work, so I had at least 2 blocks of 8 hours uninterrupted that I could dedicate to the jam. I woke up bright and early Friday morning and spent the entire day learning and using Control Rig to make a set of FPS animations to use with the laser revolver that I actually modeled late Thursday night. Then I added in what I call the kick force. It's just an overpowered kick, right? And by 3 a.m., I had a fully working first-person controller with animations and a working revolver. Not bad. Saturday and Sunday, I was feeling quite good and used my days to spend time with the family, as we all well deserved. I had an hour Saturday morning to sit and write the script. This is where I came up with my own mini Blade Runner storyline, with the twist that we have already beaten the AI, but somehow one from 2023 had come back, and we needed to stop it before it figured out how to use future internet. The Sarge would speak to you over the radio, the AI would taunt you, and eventually it could mimic Sarge's voice and mock you as the levels got more liminal and less action-focused. However, once everyone was all nestled in bed, I stayed up late to game dev instead. On Saturday night, I created the basic bad guy AI and spawner system that could be called via triggers. I reused the player's gun with very little modifications and gave it to the bad guys. I did take away their ability to reload and made their shots blue. It worked remarkably well and was more or less drag and drop. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now that the hardest and largest gameplay elements were actually made, on Sunday I was able to start building level ideas. It started off basic, but I was soon inspired by the Lumen system to make these big windows of artificial sun and moonlight, which drove the remainder of the game's visuals. By the end of the night, I had a very complete first level and finally added proper laser beams coming out of the guns, and it really started feeling like a real game. Monday. This is my last full big day to work. In the morning, I got out the microphone, recorded the VO lines, wrote music, and modeled the boss AI.
It's old and hallucinating.
By
This was the
lunchtime, I had put
precursor
it
to
all
the AI
together
that stands
with
out last
an intro
year.
scene
It
and all the
can adapt.
VO.
I'm sorry,
And in that
but
first
there
level, I was
isn't
so
more you
proud
can
of the
do.
progress. I felt like I could stop here and be proud of the game I had just made.
I
I used that relaxation to double down on the juice by creating audio sound effects for the guns, spending way too much time making this reload sound effect and tweaking the gun animations to match it all up for extra crunchiness. Then I started making level 2 and linking it into level 1. Tuesday, my buddy Randy pointed out that I was running out of time and should focus on the boss fight if I really wanted a complete game. I was officially out of daylight time, so I used my evening to completely focus on making the final boss level. And thankfully, I had all the VO already recorded and a really solid idea since the beginning about that sunrise ending. I was able to make the entire ending level, including most of the outro cinematic. I spent the final hour of the day creating sounds and camera shakes for player movement and got even more juice out of it. It was feeling good just to even walk around now. Nice. Wednesday, I used my lunch break to finish up the bad guys and turn them into real holographic characters with help from this CG How tutorial. I spent all evening back in level 2. My original plan was to have a level 2 and 3 getting progressively more liminal and more like backrooms-ish, but I was out of time, so the entire concept was squeezed into a single short level. By 10:30 p.m., I was done. I sent the full recording over to Randy for his feedback. Once again, my boy came in clutch with feedback about the introduction, how dull it was. There's just a big wall of text. That old school games, like I was after, had a train ride or something to look at during that exposition dump. I took his feedback, whipped up a simple exterior shot of the building as the player got their initial introductions from Sarge, and damn if that didn't put the cherry on top. Here's where I realized I forgot to make a player health and respawn system, so instead of a decent night's sleep, I made a health system, and honestly, I had wrapped up the whole game. Thursday, the game was done. I made a few minor tweaks and sanded off a few edges with timing and such in the morning, and once again sacrificed my lunch hour to get a YouTube video up and submitted the game. The full weight of the effort slid off my shoulders, like lemonade after a long day of yard work. I had some energy regained by evening and spent time adding a soundtrack video and made GIFs for the itch.io submission page. So there we have it. 7 days to make a game, and by God, I did it. I didn't have the full 7 days to work. I have a full-time job, got a full-time family. But I am very proud of what I was able to put together in the time that I had to work on it. Some sleep was sacrificed, health probably sacrificed. By God, I got a game, and you can go play it right now. Check it out. Hey, if you enjoyed this devlog, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. We've got another series coming soon, so we'll see you then.